Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program. August the 26th, you're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Estes Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in 1 capsule to support joint, heart and brain health. Take as directed, read the label. About Health Auckland. Good morning, folks. It's sports heavy for Monday, that's for sure. Team New Zealand wins a drama-filled America's Cup. This is the prelim final, so they've done really well there, beating arch-rival Jimmy Spittle in Spain overnight. So we'll look at this. Why did the Americans beat us, though, so easily? And why is Spittle unhappy with Kiwi boss Grant Dalton? So we'll look at this. Johnny Day will rep sport as the All Blacks get ready to take on South Africa. And Sam Whitelock, the most capped All Black of all time and recently retired, a legend of the game, he will join us. He's written this book, you see, and he'll join us and look back on his mammoth career, and also we'll look forward to South Africa too. And ministers now will not get the final say on the big infrastructure projects, the last minute changes that I think had to happen, so we'll look at this as well. Send us your thoughts and your comments and your views direct right here on YouTube and TikTok. It's news time. Here is MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cockham. Good morning.
Hezbollah has announced its military operation against Israel is over. For now, the militia group fired hundreds of rockets and drones to avenge the killing of a commander last month. CNN's Kim Dozier says fears of a wider war have not materialised yet.
Hezbollah could have chosen civilian targets, but instead chose military targets. I think that's why we're not seeing many reports of damage this morning.
Police are asking for any CCTV, dashcam or security footage from Auckland's Blockhouse Bay following the death of a man. The victim was critically injured in an attack near the tennis club in broad daylight on Saturday morning. Police are still working to track the offender, who they believe fled on foot. A man will appear in court today charged with the murder of a 60-year-old in Patea. Police were called to a family harm incident at a Dorset Street address on Saturday morning and found the victim with critical injuries, but he died at the scene. A scene examination at the home is expected to finish today. Opposition parties have been quick to criticise the government's proposed changes to the fast-track bill. Ministers will no longer have the final say on projects. However, Greens MP Lan Farm says it's not good enough.
The public's understanding of what would normally be an environmental protection through the Conservation Act or the Wildlife Act can just be completely ignored.
In sport and golf.
And the 2024 AIG Women's Open champion is Lydia Ko.
The 8.5-year major drought is over for New Zealand's Lydia Ko. She's won the Women's Open at St Andrews by 2 shots, completing a remarkable fortnight.
I've had the most Cinderella-like story this past few weeks, and this is almost too good to be true.
Ko adding a 3rd major title to her collection after winning Olympic gold and qualifying for the Hall of Fame. Team New Zealand's won the America's Cup preliminary regatta in Barcelona. They beat Luna Rossa by 34 seconds in the final, having lost to American Magic earlier in the day. And McLaren's Lando Norris has won the F1 Dutch Grand Prix. That's news and sport.
Thanks, Grace. It's all about sport, isn't it?
So much sport.
Lydia Ko, though.
I know. Look, I'm so sorry. I can't. I think she's amazing. And we were watching her and I thought she was phenomenal, but I don't know what birdies or anything are. I can't comment on the technical.
Do you know what a bogey is?
No. Like under the bed when you're a kid and you're scared like a bogeyman. Like, I don't know. JD has to put up with a lot of my
he does.
ridiculous sports.
We'll go to say that.
I was whooping and hollering at the TV, and Grace and Courtney in the newsroom like, what's going on? It's like,
we were googling the net worth of her husband. So
yeah, those things are wrong too.
We do that a lot in sport. JD gets excited. We just Google like fun facts or stalk their Instagram pages.
Nice.
You read sport well though. That was
it well.
Yeah.
I don't say grand pricks. So
no,
there you go.
Yeah, and preliminary.
Duncan, Garner.
I always said Grand Prix, yeah. And so John Day from the Sporting Rumble. Someone who knows something about sport. Doesn't just sound like they know. Where do we start? America's Cup overnight. Luna Rossa was beaten, of course. Jimmy Spittle was not happy. We're fast, we're good, but we are beatable. Also, All Blacks in South Africa. Something to look forward to. NASCAR developments and Lydia Ko. Let's start with Lydia. Amazing, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. A week ago this time I was waxing lyrical about how I got emotional during the Olympics when she won her gold, which put her into the Hall of Fame. And now, this 8.5-year drought, this thing that was just hanging over her head every year was like, the drought got bigger. It got bigger. It snowballed and became this huge thing. And now she's done it. Straight away after the Olympics, she's won another major at the home of golf as well. It just, like she mentioned in the audio clip, just fairy tale sort of stuff. Yeah. Like, you almost get the feeling watching her talk that she's got a bit of imposter syndrome. Like,
She shouldn't.
why is this happening to me? It's like, well, Lydia, because when you were 12 years old up here on the North Shore, you were winning tournaments.
Yeah.
15 years later, you have clocked golf. Like, she's achieved everything there is, Duncan.
Yeah, so she can. Well, will she retire? Will she?
Yeah, whenever she wants. Because I think the only thing that was keeping her going was winning another major. I don't see what would keep her in the sport. She doesn't need any money. She doesn't need any more accolades. She's married. I'm sure she probably wants to start a family. That's something she can look into. But as long as she has that drive to win, she'll keep on playing. But just how long can that drive continue if you've done everything?
You've said it bang on, JD. Bang on. I mean, this woman is the best, but her mental strength. There must be something in this last few weeks because she had the Olympics and now this. It has been a Cinderella moment, I think she called it. But how tough do you have to be mentally to get through that? It's extraordinary. I reckon.
Hugely. I gave up golf within a year because it's one of those sports where you get real good real quick and then you hit a stumbling block and you've got to be mentally strong to continue. And I had a hook off the tee that just mentally broke me, so I hardly play golf anymore. But Lydia finds ways to get better. She's changed coaches so many times. She's changed caddies so many times. She almost changed allegiance to South Korea at one point. But she battled through all of this. Her psychologist needs a pay rise, I think, because he's got her in such a good spot. Even today, she said, I wasn't thinking about winning. Today, I just wanted to make par on the 11th hole and birdie the 18th.
Yeah.
And she said she got the small little wins, which led to her getting the big one, $2.3 million as well for winning the Women's Open. Not bad.
You can retire. Speaking of money, the America's Cup. So we've won. We've won,
but we've lost.
Yes.
Which was interesting. Losing to American Magic. The start in these boats is very important. Basically, win the start, win the race, right? It's almost like a bad Formula One race in Monaco where there's no room to pass. So in that American Magic one, we chose the right, which has been the side that you want at this preliminary regatta in Barcelona. But the wind changed to the left, of course, and American Magic got the lead and then just beat us. But we were already in the final. Old Jimmy Spittle.
Yeah, and he's spitting tax because he can't work the equipment or something.
Yeah, earlier on in the regatta, he had an electronic malfunction, and these are all set up by computers by Team New Zealand who hand them all out to all the challengers, so they've all got the same technology set up by us. So Grant Dalton's laughing away, I'm sure, as all the challengers get to grips with the technology. But no, there was a great race this morning in the final. Very close and very fast, these boats. Like, how they don't collide is beyond me. I guess these guys have been on the water all their lives.
How they stay on the water.
Yeah, and no malfunctions, and just Team New Zealand forcing Luna Rossa into several penalties. I think 5 in the end by the end of the race, and getting home by 34 seconds. So job done. For us, the Louis Vuitton Challenger Series starts on Friday. We get to race in that as well because we make the rules. So even though we're the holders, we race in the Challenger Series for the first 2 round robins.
Great, isn't it?
And then we get to sit back and watch. But it looks like Luna Rossa and American Magic will be the boats to beat.
Exactly, but we look good.
Oh, yeah,
good.
Well, you can only win, right? And just fingers crossed and believe in the technology.
Exactly. Now, Warriors, we'll quickly touch on them and the All Blacks as well, but Warriors, so...
It's a loss to the Warriors. It was already a good night, but just cool to see Shaun Johnson farewelled by the fans. A whole season of sellouts.
Yeah.
Well done, Warriors fans. I think that's the first time in professional sport in New Zealand that a team has sold out every single game in a season, which is pretty remarkable.
It's funny you say that. I was at the college finals this weekend, so I went to the Kelston game against St Kitts and then Westlake versus Rosemary on the North Shore.
Yep.
Fantastic crowds for this. And then the NPC game was afterwards. They all left.
Yeah, I went to Pukekohe on Saturday to see my mighty Mako thrash Counties Manukau. I reckon maybe 1,000 people. They're in a dog of a stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love going to Puke and I love the people, but man, that is a tough place to watch.
Yeah, we
rugby.
can talk about this with Sam Whitelock maybe, but who's coming up. But I mean, rugby's got an issue here. You know, I'm a rugby guy. I love my rugby. As
Same.
you know. But it's just the passion for the schoolboy rugby. Absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, tribal,
afterwards.
right?
Yeah,
and they don't want to watch Auckland, who haven't won a game. Worst start to an NP season ever.
Yes.
For the Auckland side, and Otago beating Bay of Plenty, who were top of the table. So it is a great season, and it is great to go along and support your local team, but it just doesn't have that buzz like it used to, Duncan.
No, well, the buzz will be the All Blacks, I suppose, this weekend.
Massively so.
It's huge now, isn't it?
Yeah, they're in Joburg. No Ethan de Groot. He hasn't travelled over there, so George Bauer's part of the squad, and I think we'll see a start for Tamaiti Williams, which is pretty cool, the young Crusaders prop. But
he looks good. He looks good. I like him. Yeah.
Alice Park, I'm sure Sam Whitelock's got a lot to say about that place as well. So looking forward to that interview with Sammy Dub.
And the Giz, he's done well.
Yeah, he's got himself a full-time drive in NASCAR next year.
That's a big deal, eh?
For Trackhouse Racing, yeah. Pretty incredible that a guy from down under can go into This is American as it gets. Like, they say prayers before they start races and stuff, and the Star Spangled Banner, and like NASCAR is middle America, right? And so
Yes.
to let a Kiwi come in and drive one of the famous numbers, number
deal.
88 in Trackhouse Racing next year,
Yeah.
is awesome for the Giz. So hope it goes well next year.
JD, you're the man. I really appreciate it.
Finally, just one thing I want you to ask Sam Whitelock about.
Yes.
In 2017, Leon McDonald and Scott Robertson worked together at the Crusaders. Then Leon left. A bit like what's happened now at the
What
All
happened?
Blacks. What's going on there? Have
Yeah.
these guys got long
History.
history of problems of not being able to work together? That would be interesting to hear.
I will find it out very shortly. He's about 90 seconds away.
Thanks, mate.
Good stuff, JD.
3 questions from the editor-in-chief.
Okay, at number one.
One.
At number one today, are you struggling to make sense of the killing of this innocent retired scientist out walking in broad daylight next to the local Blockhouse Bay Tennis Club on Saturday? I really am, and I'll tell you why. That was my local until recently. Those pathways, that area, I lived right there for 10 years, and all sorts of families would walk, ride, run, play footy on the fields there. It's a busy, fruity little area. Well, it was. I've so many questions. Who, why, and when will they arrest someone? No wonder the locals are running on edge.
2.
At number two today, is it time for me to get over this? I'm still mad at Grant Dalton for taking the America's Cup offshore to Spain, denying Kiwis the right to see it in their own backyard after COVID shortened the regatta here a few years back. I remain angry because it's more than just a sporting event. Boy, New Zealand's economy needs an injection of life and spark and tourist and overseas money, and this high-end event would have kept cafes and restaurants and big businesses in the job. We've had no say in it. Dalton did it all for his own reasons. No doubt money played a part in this. I don't know about you, but I find it anti-New Zealand, actually, and quite unforgivable.
3.
At number 3, yes, I went on Celebrity Treasure Island. Okay, it's all out there now. It's at the screens, September the 9th, and I've got to say, what an eye-opener. When the invite came in, I found 10 reasons to say no in my head, but I said yes in the end. I don't know why I said yes. I thought I'd say no, but I said yes, and I wondered what the hell had I done. Anyway, I was seriously into it by the time I got there. It was so good for me. Mental, physical, the challenge, the isolation, the cold, the hunger, the rice, the beans, and hanging out with Christian Cullen. I mean, Cully. And how good was that?
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, I'm really fascinated by this one. Sam Whitelock, All Black legend, most capped All Black of all time. When you mention our greatest ever All Blacks across the ages and in the different positions, then Whitelock's name is there in bright lights. An extraordinary career. Now, he's penned a pretty frank book as well about it all. He's refreshingly honest as he talks rugby, family, and how it's all impacted his life. And boy, doesn't his departure show how light we are at Locks? Just look at, South Africa this week. Could we have squeezed another year out of Sam? I don't know. Was he keen for another go? Probably the body and the family were screaming at him and saying no. Anyway, he joins us now. Sam, pleasure to have you on the program. G'day, nice to meet you, mate.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I might start with Johnny Day. Just set up there, which was the whole Leon and Razor thing. Is it taking you by surprise?
Yeah, it has a little bit. It's one thing, to put yourself forward and go out and become a coach of our awesome team, being the All Blacks. But I think the best thing is they've worked out it's not working, and they've obviously decided to, go separate ways. And from what I understand, it's a little bit of, working out how to work together, and it just wasn't clicking. And the best thing is they've done it, and moving forward. And I think that's the best thing for the team, especially. I haven't talked to many of the guys lately. I've tried to keep a bit of space, but I think that's the best thing. They know where they're heading now, and it's a massive week this week.
Yeah, I think you said that well as well, because I mean, just if it's not working, get on with it, move on. And I thought Razor dealt with it quite honestly. But did you notice back in 2017 when Leon left the camp, that was left the Crusaders? Did you think anything was wrong then?
No, I wouldn't say at all. Razor and Rangi have got an awesome relationship. They obviously played a lot of rugby together and were very successful doing it. So I'm not sure what's going on, but as I said, it's the best thing for the team going forward and best thing for those guys, because when it's not working, it doesn't help anyone out.
Yeah. Hey, great book, by the way. So I've been through this, and it's a really refreshing read, really great read. You don't often get the most capped All Black of all time writing a book, because you're the first one. So well done. Was it hard to retire? Is it hard to know when the time's right to retire?
Yeah, it's it's very, very humbling having a book out. It's something I never thought I'd ever do, and had a few people teasing me saying, "Oh, you're going to write a book," and I was adamant that it was going to be a no, and got asked a couple of years ago, and the answer was no, and then had a few conversations back and forth, and then was convinced. But I'm so happy that I was convinced to do it, because it's awesome hearing and talking to people that have read it and taken something out of it. And for myself, it's my story, and it still feels weird people want to know about it, because I just still see myself as a regular Kiwi guy, and that's the way I still see myself. And yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling seeing it in the shops at the moment.
Yeah, and it's selling well too by the looks of things, and so it should too. And you are a regular Kiwi guy. You come across like that, Sam, but you also have achieved amazing things with your rugby, and so you should be so proud. Is it hard to retire? I mean, are you pining for another game? Or you look across at South Africa this weekend and think, shit, I'd love to be there.
Oh, like these are the games. These games that define you as a player, your team. And everyone tunes in, everyone watches, but at the same time, if no one was watching, it would have the same amount of feeling and impact and pride put out there on the line. So I'll be like everyone else. I'll be up early in the morning watching this massive game because South Africa are world champs at the moment, and it sucks saying that. We obviously got close, but not close enough. So I'm sure there's a few guys in the squad that were involved at the last World Cup that would love to get out there and play. So I'm hoping, and fingers crossed now as the number one supporter versus a player, that they are successful this week.
Is it how critical are you as a supporter? I mean, how hard is it to go from being so part of that engine room to being on the sideline?
Yeah, it's been very challenging, especially just being away. So we've only got back to New Zealand a couple of days ago, but the thing is, I still care so much about it, and I think anyone that's played for any team cares about the result, how the people are going, how they're playing, the style, what they need to work on, what they're doing really well, and I'm no different. So when I'm watching, I probably mutter under my breath a little bit. My wife seems to turn off her hearing and lets me just mutter away. Might be the odd naughty word come out, but it's something that I'm going to have to get better at, is watching, because even watching my nieces and nephews, my kids play sport, I can't watch rugby without analysing it and looking at what could be done better and why did this team score a try or win the game.
Yeah, it's a very New Zealand thing, isn't it? It's very hard to be on the sideline. I've found it really difficult this year. You see the different things that you think, oh, they should change this or change that, and who am I? But you are you, and I think you may have to learn, if you're not going to get involved in coaching, you may have to learn to get over that, Sam, and have to watch it, and just watch it, and it must be bloody almost impossible when you played at your level.
Yeah, like I've talked to a lot of guys around it, guys that I've played with early in my career, and they gave me great advice when I was playing, and I talk about that a little bit in the book, but then also they're still giving me great advice now, and it's something I've always liked doing, is talking to people that have done or are doing the things that you want to do, and work out if there's a little shortcut or something that can help out. And it's been great talking to some good friends over the last couple of days and working out how they're dealing with not being a current player.
Yeah, I've seen this over the years too, and All Blacks past and present talk about this, being dropped or giving up the game and no longer being that All Black in the starting 15 and no longer being part of it all. That is really challenging mentally, for people's mental health. What's my use in society now? What am I worth in terms of social worth in society? Well, you're a dad, and so you're really crucial. And how is your mental health about when you sort of step away from the game? Do you just get up in the morning with purpose still?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty amazing experience the last 8 weeks. I think my last game was 8 weeks ago, and we've done something as a family we've never had the opportunity to do. So we've travelled, because we were in France, we've travelled around Europe and actually had a massive family holiday. And it's been challenging because the kids are getting sick of each other now. Yeah. My wife's probably getting sick of me being around every day. But it's been cool. It's been really, really nice. And it's definitely helped me transition from playing to doing something different. We're heading up to the farm in a couple of days, and we're setting up camp there. So we haven't had a lot of time just to stop and reflect, but it is something that is starting to happen, starting to reflect on some of the things that we've been privileged to experience and achieve in the game of rugby. And rugby is always going to be a part of my life, but it's just looking a little bit different now.
Yeah, I suppose you probably want to pinch yourself as well at some stage, Sam, and say, wow, I achieved all that. I know it goes so quickly and it's all over, but and you've got new challenges now with the kids and everything, but it puts into perspective what your wife did while you were away on all these trips and tours and things, and also perspective what you achieved as well. You should be so damn proud of yourself.
Yeah, it's something we're not good at as Kiwis. We don't stop and smell the roses and actually enjoy some of those things. But at the same time, I think that's one of our strengths as a country. We don't kind of hold on to things. Oh, we achieved this 10 years ago. We're always looking for the next thing. The Kiwi, kind of that saying, the number 8 why. Everyone just wants to get on with it and doesn't want to wait for someone to do it for you. And I think that's the cool thing about seeing people all around the world, Kiwis, they want to just get stuck in and achieve something amazing.
You say in your book that you're having kids changes you as an All Black. In what way?
Your priority is different. When you don't have, wife and kids and a partner, it's all about you. And rugby can be a very selfish sport. But as soon as you've got responsibilities at home, and kids are a great leveler, so all of a sudden you're going, okay, I've got to front up at home, but I've also got to front up on the rugby field. So I've got to be a bit more efficient. And all of a sudden your planning comes into where you really need it to be. And I definitely found when I had my first son, that changed. Then having 2 daughters after that, I felt like my rugby just got better and better because I had to prioritise what was the most important thing. And when I was at training, I was there, but I didn't have time to muck around like I did when I was younger.
Yeah, no, you become, I know exactly what you're saying. You've got 4 kids, and your time management becomes so much better, doesn't it? I've got a job to do, but after that, I'm out, boys, because I've got other things that I'm required to do,
It's exactly that. You can't go and have that social coffee and catch up with people, which is important at times, but you're like, look, I've got to go pick my son up from kindergarten or school, so you just have to be really efficient, and when it's done, you've got to go. I
think it's a great lever too. You've where you come from in the Manawatu there in Fielding and so forth. You head back to these communities, and my kids were born in Fielding, so I know the area, and I know it's a down to earth, humble area, and that's where you find yourself. That's where you find your feet again, isn't it?
Yeah, can't wait. We're going back to Fielding on Friday, going back to Fielding High School. So looking forward to spending a bit of time with some of the old teachers, especially my English teachers that never thought I'd write a book. So I'm sure they'll be asking a few questions of, how good was Dylan? His obviously sentence structure and grammar and everything was spot on, where if I had to write it by hand, it would have taken a long time. We wouldn't even be into chapter 1 just yet. But looking forward to seeing all those people that definitely set me up to be successful in my rugby career.
How special is it to to head home, and you've got your brothers, of course. A number of you have become All Blacks, like the Barrett family. You're an All Black family. Your dad was a very good rugby player as well in Manawatu. You were always going to play rugby, weren't you? This was a rugby family.
Yeah, there's it's kind of All Black history sprinkled all through the family on both my parents' side, but also my wife's side. So I'm not looking forward to the amount of pressure that my kids are put under, but we'll be the same as mum and dad. They'll encourage us if we show some interest in it, but at the same time, they weren't pushy parents. They allowed us to do it, but if we asked for help, they were more than willing to show us in the right direction. And I talk about it right at the end of the book, and it was probably one of the hardest parts to write, is actually saying thank you to people, because there's no way I would have achieved any of this stuff without my brothers, my wife, all their wives, but also my parents and grandparents as well. So that's one part I really, really enjoyed writing, but it was definitely hard because it's hard to find words to say thank you.
And no pressure, but there probably is pressure on your son, poor bugger, to follow in the footsteps. Do you feel that?
Yeah, he's absolutely rugby mad, like every other 7-year-old kid in New Zealand. So he has his favourite players, and at the moment he loves all the fast guys that score tries and kick the goals. So hopefully he can stay out there himself for a little bit longer. But I'm sure with his height, he seems to be pretty tall. He'll end up in the forwards. So hopefully he enjoys the game as much as I have. Yeah.
How tough was that era, under Ian Foster, when we expect the All Blacks to win everything, right? That's the New Zealand way. We take losses. I think we take losses a bit better now than we used to, say 20 odd years ago. But we still find it hard. It was a tough era, wasn't it, under Ian Foster?
Yeah, that was. I talk around a tough part of the book. That was probably the part I was really concerned about. I didn't want to not talk about it because it was there, and everyone had an opinion, whether it was opinion A or opinion B. But at the same time, we had to look at ourselves as players and going, look, are we playing well enough? But in saying that, it's all history now, and the All Blacks have had some amazing history. I go back to 2012, 2013, I think we lost one game and drew one game over 2 years. So we were good at winning. Last couple of years, we potentially, lacked that little bit of understanding of how to pull those games out of the fire when they're in the balance. And as a player, it's always nice to win, but sometimes you learn a little bit more about yourself, about the team when you're not winning. But I hope the players that were involved that are still there now are sharing their experiences, sharing the stories, so it doesn't happen again.
Well, you did make the World Cup final. You're pretty close. You did pretty well in the end. You mentioned in the book that you would have liked to have been captain. You won't lie. Would have liked to have been captain. You'd been captain for a number of games. You'd been unbeaten as captain. I know certainly in a straw poll, in a rolling poll of my mates, they all had you as captain as well. So. Was that tough to take? I know you got on with it and played the game. But, you didn't let it affect you, but was it tough to take?
Oh, it's one of those things. I'd love to be the goal kicker too, but there's no way I'm going to be the goal kicker. But you just got to get on with it, and life throws curveballs at you, certain setbacks, and I talk about it in the book around. I just had to get over the disappointment of not being named as captain, but I knew I had to help out in any which way I could, because it's never just about one person. It's the same as the coaching setup. It's never just the head coach. It's never just the forwards coach. It's always the group and how they're working together. So I'd like to think that Sam, as a captain, played better because I was out there and I was actually taking pressure off him, taking extra work off him so he could play the way he wanted to play and then lead the way he wanted to lead. Yeah.
Final question, Sam. I do appreciate your time this morning. I know you're busy and everything, but your best coach ever, who you reckon your best coach over the years has been?
Oh, I've had a few of those questions lately. I've been privileged. I've had some amazing coaches. I've had amazing All Black coaches. The guys that were there. So you had Ted, Shag, and obviously Fozzie. I've had some amazing Super Rugby coaches. Been coached by Robbie Deans in Japan. But the one coach I think was awesome for me, and he could coach anything. So whether it was ballet, rugby, anything, was Mike Cron. And he never, got the big stick out and rattled the cage too much, but his ability to coach a skill and start it at a basic level and then take it all the way through to the highest level would be Chrono. So Mike Cron was exceptional, but it's so hard to pick. Had some awesome coaches, and hopefully one day I can pass on a lot of that knowledge to the next generation.
You want to coach as well, do you?
I want to give back to the game. So whether that's coaching my son's under 8s team next year, or whether that's my daughter's hockey team or basketball team, I want to give back, because you've got to. There's no point dying with the knowledge that you've been given, and hopefully I can spread it to a whole lot of people, and they can go out there and be successful in their own way.
I reckon you're qualified. I reckon you've got. I reckon you've got a pretty good background for it, Sam. I appreciate your time, mate, and all the very best, and good luck with the family and life from here on in.
Cheers, thanks very much. Okay. And I must admit, I'll be pretty jealous of you hanging out with Christian Cullen, who's an absolute hero. So yeah. I'll have to tune in when I can stay awake and not sleep on the couch with jet lag.
Make sure you do, Sam. He's a great guy. Everything I hoped that Christian Cullen would be, he was that and more. So yeah, top bugger.
Perfect.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, what a great guy. What an excellent guy. I really enjoyed that interview. James has said, Duncan, cool guy. Local Fielding High School is 1.5 k's from where I am. My wife went to school. That school, excellent interview, Duncan. Moana said, agree, Sam, we need to smell the roses more. Great interview, good guy. Yeah, excellent. You see, all you ever hear from these All Blacks is you watch them play. You don't really hear them in extended interviews. He's a family guy, doesn't he? And he's so right about once you have kids, your time management, your focus is just so much sharper and better. That's what I've always found anyway. As you know, this program is sponsored by the good folks at About Health, whom without their support we wouldn't be on air. It wouldn't happen. That interview wouldn't have happened. It's how it is for media these days. It's what we do. We need to stay afloat, and the world's change and sponsorships matter. They allow us to keep doing what we are doing. And About Health has a range of health products. One of their most high profile is Leicester's Oil. You may have heard of it. I recently caught up with naturopath Judy, who's going to tell us what it is and why fish oil is so good for us. Welcome to the podcast, Judy. Nice to see you.
Lovely to be here.
Tell us about Leicester's Oil. So what is in the Leicester's Oil?
The hero ingredient that we started with is fish oil. And there's so much research around fish oil, so that's a great place to start. But we like to have multi-ingredients because lots of things work well together with friends, basically. So we've got coenzyme Q10 in there. That is really good for heart health, amongst other things. Astaxanthin, lutein and zeaxanthin, they are specifically in there for eye health, and good old vitamin D3.
So we can't get these nutrients in any other way, can we? You actually have to buy the oil to get the nutrients. There's no other way of getting them unless you're eating oily fish every day.
Oily fish, yeah, that is the ideal way. Look, I love if you can get things through your diet, that's the best way.
Yes.
But do you? That's the question, isn't it?
Well, have you seen how expensive fish are?
Yeah, I know. Vitamin D3, you get through sunshine onto the skin.
But a lot of people don't leave their houses these days. So,
well, if you do, New Zealand's a bit tricky too, though, because that sun over summer is sizzly. It's really sizzly. So you've got to be careful. You don't want to get burned, but you do want some sunscreen-free time to get that vitamin D.
So when you take Leicester's oil, what sort of what will you see? What will be the reaction?
Probably the most obvious thing that people notice, and you'll relate to this, joint health. Because you feel that it's tangible, You go for however long with achy, stiff joints until you try something, and then you feel it, right? So you feel that one.
Yep.
But there's lots of heart health benefits too. It's really good for balancing cholesterol. We've got some good data on our study about that. Reducing inflammation, which is a big
It's amazing,
one.
isn't it?
It's huge.
Because I've had this dodgy knee for quite some number of years now, and it was getting worse. So I started taking the Leicester's oil on the recommendation of the guys from About Health. Yep. And so I've taken it for 3 weeks now. And today's the first day I haven't got my support band on it.
Awesome.
And I don't know whether it's because I feel better or because I think I feel better, but I'm not. I don't have the limp like I did.
Yeah.
And that's in 3 weeks.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the way I think of it is a lot of these natural things, these nutrients and stuff, they're very low risk, right? Really low risk. There are, of course, there's always going to be some risk, but really low risk with a really high potential for benefit.
Yeah, well, I think I'm starting to feel that. You've got the original and the other product too. So what's the difference?
The advanced.
Yeah.
Okay, so the original has been around for ages and it's brilliant. Lots of people love it. They take it. It works. But we did a little bit more research and realised with just a few more tweaks, we could do something that was just even a bit better. So what we focused on to start with was the fish oil itself. So omega-3 fatty acids, there's two main omega-3s. There's lots, but the two main ones are EPA and DHA. And you can look those up if you want. I'm not going to, they're terrible to pronounce. But they are the ones that there's most research and studies around. And so what we've gone and done with the advanced version is we've increased the amount of DHA. So that one in particular is really important for brain health. In fact, I was listening to a podcast about brain health on the way down here. DHA makes up about 10% of the fatty part of your brain. So
does it stimulate the brain, does it? Or what does it do?
Well, it's a structural. It provides actual structure for the brain. The brain is made up of about 10% DHA, so it's providing a building block, if you will.
Right.
But it's really good for mood health in particular, but it's helping with all those neuro connections. Get the words out. I need more.
I'll flick you some. What does it do for mood? You talk about mood, and is it like a balancing agent, is it?
Yeah, look, it's not necessarily so much like we often think about serotonin and neurotransmitters and things like that. But if we're supporting the structures in the brain, then we're allowing for better flow of things. So it's not necessarily stimulating serotonin as such, but maybe helping it to just all operate a bit more efficiently.
Yeah. So if you go with the original or the advanced, what would you recommend?
Usually, I don't have short form answers, Duncan. Basically, the way I look at it, if you have joint discomfort,
yes,
or you're relatively young, I say relatively because I think 40s are still pretty young.
It is though.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you don't have anything serious going on, but you kind of want to get ahead of things. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Then the Leicester's Oil Original is fantastic. Yeah. It's really good. If you're a bit further down the age trajectory,
and what age is that?
Well, it's different for each person, isn't it? So we've got chronological age, we've got biological age. So how well you're aging, I don't know. If you feel like you're a bit older, maybe, maybe things aren't functioning as well as they should.
Right.
Maybe you've got high cholesterol, blood pressure issues, or maybe a family history of that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Because we talk about the heart as well. We talk about at least it's all been good for the heart, joint health, mood, that sort of thing.
Yes.
What does it do with the heart?
Lots of things. So if we look at just the fish oil, circulation, gets the blood flowing.
Yeah, crucial.
Super important. We were talking about that just
when
before.
When it stops flowing, she's over.
Yeah, exactly, right? But it also helps with blood pressure. It helps with cholesterol. Then the coenzyme Q10 is really good for mitochondria. So mitochondria, kind of like the energy cell or energy producing cells in the body.
Yeah.
And our heart has loads of them, right?
I tapped on your site and I looked at some of the reviews from some of the people, and this is from Gary. He says, walking up a hill 2 months ago was impossible. I started taking Leicester's oil 7 weeks ago. Today I walked 4 Ks up Monsanto Castle in Portugal. No pain on the way up, a little discomfort halfway down. A brilliant result considering I was thinking of cancelling my holiday because of previous pain. How's it? That's how I'm feeling.
It's amazing, isn't it?
But
I love that.
that's mine's 3 weeks.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd run 4Ks.
Yeah.
Life's changing. That's what Kirsty says. Duncan, having suffered from arthritis with the stiffness in my back and hip getting worse at only 50 years of age, I asked a naturopath who recommended I try fish oil. I did my research and decided Leicester's oil was the one to try. Within 3 days of taking these every morning, I found myself climbing our stairs so much easier. I had more mobility and flexibility. I can't recommend these enough. An absolute game changer. Thank you, About Health.
Amazing, eh? I love it. I love hearing these stories.
Do we need supplements to survive, do you think?
In this modern era, I think it's not a bad idea because we're not getting it in our diet. You know what I mean? I don't eat oily fish. I don't like it. I like me a nice snapper.
Yeah.
Or the mild fish, but I don't eat sardines and anchovies and mackerel.
What should we do? There's so many fish oils. Why is this one the best?
The quality of the fish oil to start with. Okay, we're using those smaller species, so that helps with a number of things, less contaminants, but also more sustainable. Okay, so we've got a lot of information around that, and then it's molecularly distilled, so we've got this top quality pure product that's coming out. But then we've got all the other ingredients in there too.
Listen to this. This is from Pauline, my last one. I had to go off Leicester's oil for a short time. By the 10th day, I could hardly walk. My hips and back were in agony. I went back to Leicester's oil, and after 2 days, I was back to my usual active self. Unbelievable. Amazing. Leicester's oil was the best. Pauline.
So good, eh? Do you know, I just wish that people would write in to say that their hearts feel better, but it's the joints that they feel, so that's what we hear
They're
about.
at the top of the hill. That's all they care about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, their hearts have been able to work to get them there too. So
Totally. Well, if the heart didn't work, they wouldn't have got there.
Exactly.
Nice to see you, Julie. Thanks for catching up.
Thanks, Duncan.
Okay, thanks, Julie. And now to order, you can jump on abouthealth.co.nz or call right now 0800 999 309. Now, when you do that, use the code Duncan for 10% off. That'll get you your products 10% off. They've got all sorts of deals going on there. There are people on the phones. They're waiting for you right now, and this is a sponsor I believe in. And it works. It's starting to work for me. This stuff. I'm not. No longer am I strapping my leg, which is the first time in a year. So I'm enjoying it, and it works. So thank you to About Health for their support of the program.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, lots of feedback coming in. Duncan, Sam Whitelock, wicked mean interview. Bruv, cheers. Okay. And also Grant Dalton, you've said, Duncan, I'm with you. I'm so angry with Grant Dalton, I can't even watch the coverage. It's really a bad time for me. Dalton equals cry. Okay, hit me. Celebrity Treasure Island.
Yeah, Duncan, just
here we
before
go.
you move
Young guys
on,
want to get me.
Just before you move on, couldn't help but notice you were mentioning Celebrity Treasure Island earlier in the show.
Yeah.
And blew
what's that
our minds
about?
a little bit, won't lie.
When's it live? When's it live?
September the 9th is
September the 9th.
is the
That's
first
very soon.
first night, yeah. It is next week, 10 days, yeah.
Are you excited or nervous to see yourself on screen?
So I'll take you back. So initially I just ignored the email when they asked me to come on. I ignored it. No, it's not me, no. Oh, well, I don't do reality TV. Then I said yes.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I did. It was, in many ways, when I came back from it, I found it life-changing.
Yeah.
Meeting all these people, you're chucked in the middle of nowhere, and it's survival.
Yeah.
And we had rice and beans. I had to catch fish to survive.
Rice and beans sounds pretty nice to me, Duncan.
Yeah, but after, if you're there for days and days and days and
I
days,
can imagine.
try it on your third week, mate. If you're still there. Yeah.
Nice.
Next question, go hit me.
Or I had this good one come in on TikTok. Sam is one of the GOATs. Everyone's lots of support for Sam.
Yeah.
Great interview. I think that ran quite long, but I think it was like in a good way because he just had so much good info.
He'd survive on Celebrity Treasure Island. He'd be a beast.
Who was another celebrity you're on the island with that you enjoyed being there with?
James Rollison.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, the actor from Boy.
Yep.
Oh, Chardonnay, Good
and
guy.
then
Casey Kapoor, she was awesome.
This might be
Wairangi Kopu, awesome.
You might not be able to answer this, but was there anyone you didn't enjoy being on the island?
Oh, rough question.
You have to wait and see.
He's media trained, everybody. He's media trained.
The thing is this, do they position me as a complete prick or do I come across as a nice guy? That's because I'm really worried about, it's in their hands, right? As a television person, I know how to edit things in and out.
I feel like the editors can really make a decision.
Fuck.
You take either the good things you say or the bad things you say and you can really craft a character regardless of how you did, So
that's exactly right. You can say all the right things and they ignore those and they pick two things when you call someone a bitch or something. Like, oh God!
Yeah. And that's you for the rest of the show.
But I did try and just be me.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
So try and support. Yeah.
Nice. Very well.
But I did do a couple of moments of that. Yeah.
Hey, well, looking forward to watching it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Do you think they are, or do you think they just want to laugh at me?
It's the Slam Dunk.
Laugh at me. The government has said ministers will now not have the final say and the final sign-off when it comes to this fast-track bill to speed up the building of infrastructure, crucial infrastructure projects. When this becomes law in New Zealand, right? This backdown is absolutely the right move. It means that there is less of a perception that the government's simply rubber-stamping projects on behalf of the big business mates. So a panel of experts will make the decision. That's the right thing. Good compromise, and everyone can feel like they've won something here. The Green Movement, who furiously opposed this law, can say, well, their march down Queen Street worked. They got the government into some sort of backdown or rethink, and a part it has, so good on them. But also good on the government for not being so dogged and for showing some flexibility. For far too long, too many of these big projects have stalled and not gone ahead because, well, industry claims there are just far too many hurdles. Why do we have power shortages now? Because we simply haven't built enough renewable energy projects in generations. So now the heat is on the players to step up. The government's done what you asked for. They've removed the barriers to investment and they've given you certainty that you want. And no longer will there be these lengthy delays and court action and everything. So with the settings are there. There are more than 350 projects that various companies have put forward that are likely to go through the fast-track process. And I say bring it on. Businesses must respond to the government invite and push forward and aggressively build and produce these projects so we can all see the impact of the fast-track approach. To business who consistently moan and groan and did nothing under Labour, it's time to put a sock in it and get on with it and build these projects. Okay? Yes, there are some mining companies wanting to mine further, yep. Let's be mature about it, but they only make up 5% of the applications so far. So many are housing projects, and we need houses, right? I don't in any way see this as taking New Zealand backwards. In many ways, it's a challenge to businesses here and overseas to step up. It's not the government's job to always build everything, but it's their job to get the settings right to allow the building to go ahead as quickly as possible and with some safeguards in place, but not so many safeguards that we don't do anything. Shane Jones won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I applaud him here for standing in the face of those who want no progress and saying enough is enough. We have to do something. So now we stand by and wait for the announcements and the investment. I suggest business be quick and get on with it before a future government scraps the progress and puts up new barriers, but you can't now claim it's too hard to build. It's not, and you know it, so get on with it. Right, I think that's us.
Duncan Garner, live.
It is. Thank you for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Estes Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement that you just heard about, backed by a study. Support joint health and brain health. Use code Duncan for 10% off. 10%. Good deal. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland, 0800 999 309. People are standing by right now. Mention my name. Poof. 10% off. Just like that. And a free preview of Celebrity Treasure Island. No. That is us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your feedback and support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac, Forrester and Zarina, thank you so much. And to Miranda, thank you for helping us put this together today and for the rest of the week as well. Legend. And we'll do this all again tomorrow, of course. Remember, life's no dress rehearsal. There's no curtain raiser. This is it. We live in one of the best places on earth. So get out and make justice. Do justice to it. Get on and enjoy your country. Take care, New Zealand. Bye-bye.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.